Okay, are we all here together at the same spot? Make sure at this point, as you type your code, go ahead and do like a Control S or Command S to save your file.
Could we get
Okay.
like 1 minute?
Say again?
Could we get like 1 minute? They're trying to...
Sure. While they're waiting, let's talk about why we have the public static void main. You can create a Java class and it doesn't have to have the public static void main, but it just means that that class is not executable on its own. Anytime you want to create a program that's executable, you have to have at least one class in your program that has the public static void main method. Okay? This is what we call the entry point. Okay? Aspects of this: it has to have a string with a string of type array and the property name specifying it. Okay? Public static void main method. All right?
Public static void main string main.
Yep. All right. So Jericho, Elijah, just continue reading what's on the board. Now, I'm going to go ahead and run that javac command again, okay? And we're going to compile it with the system out print line. Now, to execute it from the terminal, I'll just type java random guess, not .class, okay? Everyone see that? If I try to do this with .class, you're going to get an error. It's going to say, I could not find or load the main class, randomguess.class. When you're executing a program, you just need to execute it only by the name of the class, not the full name, including the extension. And the reason is you're executing this name right here. Okay? So, as you see, when I execute it, I get the output that's in the system out print line. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add to this program. We'll comment this piece out for right now. And we're going to request the name of this game, our first game, is just, hey, make a guess. Make a guess between 1 and 10. And guessing between 1 and 10 is super easy. All right? Like if you asked me to give you a number between 1 and 10, I would say 3. I would not say 0 because that's not between 1 and 10. Right? I wouldn't give you 11 because that's not between 1 and 10. So we're going to look at another way to actually gather input into the program. And we'll do that by using a J option pane. And you'll notice that the first thing that it does in IntelliJ when I include a J option pane is it does this import. And that's because by default, a Java program, the only thing that's automatically imported, and I'm going to type it up here just for the purpose of seeing it, is java.lang. Everything is automatic. This package or class is auto-imported by default. You don't have to type this, okay? But it's made available to your program by default. If you want to include other classes that are out there, you have to import the package name and all the way down to the class. In this instance, I am using an asterisk. Can anyone tell me what an asterisk means at this point? It gives you everything, all the classes that are in there. Now, if I was to take this out like that, and IntelliJ is going to help me out, and I do show message dialog and hit enter, you'll notice now at the top. It still does it. Let's do it this way. I could only do just that. And I'm only including just that class for this program. Okay? IntelliJ is automatically including everything. Now this is also important because when I compile the program, if I tell it to include everything, it means my program is a little bit more heavyweight, right? So we want to kind of always keep memory as a question in the back of our mind. How big are we making this program, right? IntelliJ is prompting me right here with a little red curly. Do y'all see that little red squiggly underneath? Yeah. That's basically telling me, hey, you didn't define this right and we can't recognize it. And that's because it's requiring some other things. The first option that it's actually looking for is a parent component. So for my parent component, I could supply like a form, but I'm not. I'm just going to say it's null. And with this J option pane show message dialog, that's totally fine. It'll accept a null for that. Next, I'm going to supply a message. So let's do this. Bring it down one line. You can hit enter there, make it more readable. And I'm going to type the number is plus let me back up here. Let's take this back out. Delete that. Because that's not what we want to use right here. We're going to do J option pane show input dialog. Okay? Same thing, null. We're going to give a message, please input a number between 1 and 10. All right. Let's do it like that so we can see it better. All right. Now, I'm going to stop there. And for the purposes of seeing what's in it, I'm going to do system out print line. And I think this will, yeah, here we go. This will give me a string. Okay? So I'm just going to input the string right there. So I'm going to compile it again. Same way. Or, Elijah, this is for you. See this little red triangle right here?
Yeah.
You can click that. Sorry, green triangle. I don't know why I said red. You can also click up here and do that. That'll run the entire program. If you want to build the current file, just click the build project. So I'll click the build project, and it has recompiled the class. Okay.
And those little things, the little slashes are comments, right? The gray lines between the slashes.
Yep, those are comments. So guys, to build the program, just click build project. Y'all see that? That will build it. That's the same as JAVAC random guess, right? That does the same thing in this instance. All right. Now,
wait, is it J optional option pane?
J option pane dot show input dialog. Okay. All right. Before we run the program, J option pane is the name of a class, and it has a method called show input dialog. And you'll notice that it's separated by a dot. The dot signifies, hey, access the method name. Okay? Now there's some special things going on here. Number one, this is a static method call. And we could see that if we hover over it. If you hold your command key down and hover over this, you'll see that it is a public static string show input dialog. This is what we call a a method signature. The method signature for this method is it's public. That's the access modifier. It means anybody can call it. Even outside of the class, anybody can call it. It has a return of a string, and it's a static method. I'm not going to explain what static is right now, but basically by making it static, you don't have to instantiate the class. Okay? We have the name itself, which is show input dialog, and then we see that here are the other attributes of that class. It takes a parent component and it has an object message. Okay? All right. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and run it. And it's going to output on my other window over here. Let me drag it back over. It output this dialog. So it's creating a graphical object for us with a command. So I'm going to enter a 2, click OK, and you can see there's the 2. Now, my program has not stopped running. That's because I haven't told it to exit yet. Anytime you create a graphical object, it's going to keep running in memory. Now it finally exited because it's done. But when you go to create other graphical objects and display them, you have to wire into it that when you click the exit or the X, like on a standard application, you have the line, the square, and the X. You have to tell it, hey, when I do this, I'm closing the application. Otherwise, the application will continue to run in the background. All right. Any questions so far? All right. So this week, you're starting to learn a little bit about data types. And the first data type that we have here is a string. Does everyone know what a string is? Hey, Chris?
It's I define it as, based on my understanding, it's an array of characters.
Yes, it's an array of characters. To make it simple for everyone, he's absolutely right. It is an array of characters. It's called the class string. But to make it simple, think of a string as just text. Okay? Just text. Now, there are many data types. You can have a string, which is all included in the java.lang package. You can have a char, which is one character. You can have an int, which is a specified number data type. You can only hold, I think it's up to 1 billion 1 billion bits, right? You have short, you have long, you have double, you have float. These are all different types. You have Boolean. These are all different types of data types. So we know that right now, please input a number. Is a string a number?
No.
It's not. So one of the things I'm going to have to do in order to evaluate this is I have to determine if the string is a number. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to say integer value of, supply the variable, and assign this that. Okay? in this instance, I have specified the type of variable, that it's an int. I've given a variable name, and I've used this class called integer dot value of string. Now, for our purposes, let's change the name of this and just call it input. Okay? Because that makes more sense. And I want to encourage you with this. Every variable name you give, make sure it's a variable that you could remember. This is not algebra where you're going to put x and y and things like that. Don't do that. In programming, you want to make your variables understandable. You want to make them human readable. Okay? So if you have a variable called the number of wheels, you would literally type right? You make it human readable because anyone reading your code after the fact is going to be able to understand what you wrote. Okay, so we're going to convert it. Now the next step is we need to output what we chose and as well what the guess is. So I'm going to again use a J option pane and show, let's do this. Let's first of all create an int called random number equals, and we're going to type some complex code here. With the parenthesis, we're going to do some inherent casting. So I'm going to say 1 plus the type of int math.random, and I'm going to tell that math.random inside of the parenthesis to multiply it times 10. All right, let's break it down. Math.random is going to give me a number between 0.0, see, yeah, 0.1 I think it is, and let's hover over it. It is going to give us, yeah, here's the comment on what it is. It's going to give you a pseudo number between 0.0 and less that of 1.0. A random number. Okay? And so if I do multiply that number times 10, that means I'm going to get a random number between 1 and 10. Okay? If I did it times 100, it's going to take the decimal places and go out to the hundredth and give me a random number between 1 and 100. If I did it times 1,000, it would go out to the thousandth of the decimal place and give me a number between 1 and 1,000. Does everyone understand? This is basic math, right? Everyone loves math, right?
Yes.
Yes, all right. So let's go back. By the way, if you're ever curious about in IntelliJ, you want to know what a class is doing, hold the command key down or the control key if you're on a Windows box and click on it. And you can actually drill in. It will decompile the code and give you the comments and everything about that class, and you can figure it out. Okay? All right. So here we have our code. Now I have a variable for the number I input and the random number. And now I'm going to do another J option pane, and I'm going to say show message dialog null, and I'm going to say you input plus num plus period. Okay. The correct number is plus random number. Yeah, that'll work. Does everyone understand what I've done? I'm going to bring it back up to the same line.
So is that a period on the correct number next to the parentheses?
Yeah, I just trying to include some correct grammar. All right.
Is that a period or a comma? I can't see.
It's a period.
Okay.
You input something, period. The correct number is blah, 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 blah. And if I wanted to be correct about my grammar again, I would do that. All right. A couple other things we need to talk about. Here, I have what's called a string literal. Anytime you type out text in double quotes, it's a string literal. With string literals, you can add a string to a number, and what it does is it concatenates. Everyone say concatenate.
Concatenate.
Isn't that a fun word? You're going to see that a lot. Concatenate. So it's going to say you input plus the num. It doesn't add it together. It doesn't like take the memory location, get some fancy number, and plus my number. It doesn't do that. It takes the value of that string literal you input, and it concatenates the value num. And then I'm concatenating another string to it. And then I'm concatenating another number to it, right? And then I concatenate another string. Everyone understand so far?
Yes. I have a question. Yes. My input is showing as red, and everything is pretty much the same. Is there a reason for that? Or?
Your input is showing as red. Do you have a semicolon at the end?
Yes.
Where the semicolon guy is.
Do you have, make sure you have the same amount of quotes. Use a plus sign before and a plus sign after each of your, okay? All right? Okay, so we're going to run it the quick and easy way. Make sure you do a Control S or Command S. We'll just run it. And again, it threw it on my other window. So here we go. Please input a number between 1 and 10. I'm going to say 3. Okay, and here's the answer. You input 3, the correct number is 4. This is the guess game. Nothing complex at all. I click OK, and then I think it's going to time out with the J option and exit eventually. If it doesn't, just click Stop Random Guess over here, a little red square. There. Alrighty. Now, this is taking it a little bit above and beyond what was in the program. In fact, I think the way this assignment is written in week 1, it will not grade this correctly for you. It'll say you got this wrong and that wrong and all that. So this is what I want you to do for this assignment. Okay? I want you to give me a day to change this to this assignment from Cengage to another assignment input, and I'll send you all the email to please upload your Java file to that input. Okay? You'll upload your Java file as well as a screenshot. You know what I mean by screenshot, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it takes 2 screenshots because it's 2 option panes, then make sure you put 2 screenshots. Okay? Any questions about that?
What are, excuse me,
Yes.
what are the 2 screenshots? Like,
First screenshot is going to show that J option pane with you inputting a number. Second one is going to show the second screenshot of the other message, J option pane,
the dialog box and,
the second dialog box.
oh, second.
Uh-huh.
You don't want us to screenshot the code?
No, you're going to give me the code.
Okay.
You're going to send me just the code.
Oh,
All right. Let's, any questions so far about this? If there isn't, I'm going to go up to File, New Project. Are y'all ready for that? We're going to go to week 2.
week 2?
Week 2, week 30.
Yeah, we're in week 2 now. I just finished the homework assignment for week 1. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, the best way to learn here is to look at the code and say, Mr. Rogers, what is this about? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Okay? Because we can talk through it as we do it. Okay? You're going to get more out of it if you really ask me. All right? If you're back there surfing the web and you're not keeping up with me, then you're lost, okay? No one's surfing the web back there, right? Everyone's quiet. They're not going to answer the question. All right. All right, here we go. We're going to go to New Project. And
So,
Title?
how do I install Java?
well, I'll talk to you about that at the end of class if you have not followed the instructions yet for the first week, okay? All right, this is week 2. You have a forum discussion. I want to let you all know that these are all due on January 28th, okay?
That includes the homework project? The homework task?
Oh,
Yeah, because I'm doing them for you in class. So there are some issues with the programming exercises at 2-6, and I have to contact Cengage to get them to fix them. So what I did is externalize them, and we're going to work through them together. Okay?
yeah. Oh wait, we're supposed to do with the programming practices?
Is it okay if I download from the .msi?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
All right. So we're going to do the next one. And I want you to call this eggs.
Yeah.
The eggs project. I actually do this so we keep it understandable. Week 2 underscore
Do I need to restart it now that I've downloaded it, or?
you should not have to. I'm trying not to use a curse word here, because I know some of y'all will start giggling. There we go. There we go. This is what we're just going to call the next project, all right?
Week 2 ASSG,
That's a 1. It's a 1.
AS1.
All right? We good? All right. We're going for it. New window.
Wait, AS1X? Got it.
Yeah, someone help him out back there. All right, I'm going to close this one down. Drag over my window. All right. We're going to go to source, and we're going to create a new class. We're going to call it eggs. All right, so we're looking at the directions. Week 2 programming assignment 1, Meadow Dell Dairy Farm. Okay. Again, next thing we need to do is a PSVM, public static void main method. What is the public static void main method known as?
Boilerplate?
It's the entry point.
Oh,
It is boilerplate, but I'm not going there. Every Java program to be executable has to have an entry point, okay? IntelliJ makes it easy. PSVM, Papa Sierra Victor Mike. Okay, hit tab.
PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah, PlayStation. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to read you the assignment. Okay, if you guys want to toggle over to the week 2 and look at the assignment. You can read along with me. The Meadowview Dairy Farm sells organic brown eggs to local customers. Yummy. It charges $3.25 for a dozen eggs, or 45 cents for individual eggs that are not a part of the dozen. Did I mention we're going to be doing math word problems in this class? All right. You need to write a program called eggs. All right, we got part of that done, right? That prompts the user for the number of eggs in order and then displays the amount owed with a full explanation. Okay, we could use the J option pane for this, but we're going to do a different methodology for that. Okay, so the program needs to accept input, and we're going to do this. I'm going to show you how to accept input from the terminal for this program. Okay, and it should output the following. It needs to output the following. Now, the numbers in this statement are going to be swapped out with variables, but it needs to output this statement. Let's drag that over to give yourself more room. And there we go. It needs to output this statement. All right? So, first thing we need to think about. We have an idea in Java called constants. All right? Anyone tell me what a constant is?
Something that doesn't change.
Exactly. Very good, man. Bill hit it on the nose. A constant is something that doesn't change, right? We can think about constants for a lot of things in our programs. Something that you know is not going to change would be a constant. So how do we create a constant? Anyone know the keyword? No, it isn't constant. No, it isn't that either. There is a keyword that'll make it a constant.
Static?
That could work, but in this instance, constants are final.
Oh.
Anyone know the keyword now? Final. And because this variable is a decimal, what type of variable type do I need to use?
Wait, did you do something in the terminal or no?
Okay. Final double. So I'm going to create now, I've declared that it's going to be constant. I've declared that it's going to be a decimal type because it's a double. And now I'm going to give it a name. Now here's the deal. For constants, best practice is always make them uppercase with an underscore in between the words. That is the best practice throughout the entire Java programming community. Okay? So you want to follow that. So we want to say $3.25 for a dozen eggs. So what would be the constant I would have here? Cost per dozen. That makes sense, right? The cost per dozen. How about cost of eggs per dozen? Right? That's my constant. And what is the value from the assignment? It's what number it needs to be. $3.25.
Okay, so cost underscore of.
Right? So this is my variable name. Best practice is to make it uppercase, make the words separated by underscores. Okay, that's best practice. I have my type, a variable, and I've declared that it is a constant. It will not change. That keyword final means it will not change. In fact, if I create a class and I call it final class, you can even do that.
Wait, how do I know if something is saved?
just do Control S or go up to File and save all. Okay.
It says variable cost of eggs per dozen is never used.
Elijah, look at my screen up here.
Yep.
You need to type it like that.
Cost underscore of.
Final double cost per, good, type exactly what I have. All right. I need to create another constant. Can anyone else tell me what the next constant is going to be?
Single.
Cost per egg.
Yeah. Oh. 45.
Cost per egg. And what is my cost per egg?
45 cents.
Let's see, 0.45. Now, although you can type just 0.45, best practice is always include the 0 in front of it so that it, for readability purposes, right? Someone's looking at it, they may not see that dot, but if they see the 0, it's going to, okay? It's going to tell them they need glasses. All right, any questions so far? I have two constants. But now I need to think about what I'm calculating here. I'm going to have an input for the number of eggs. Someone is going to give me a number of eggs, and I need to do a calculation to figure it out. I need to say, another one is how many dozen? Right? Because I'm going to input a number of eggs, and I'm going to have to figure out how many dozen can be derived from that number. Right? And then I need to do something else. I need to figure out the remainder, or eggs left over. You could call it remaining eggs. Right? You could say remaining eggs. Everyone with me so far? It is 4:42. We're almost done with this class, guys. We're not even done with this program yet. All right, we need to move quicker. All right, so now we need to calculate this. We're going to create another variable. We're going to call this scanner. And we're going to give it a variable of input, scanner. And make sure you do this where it is, it gives you the drop down and hit enter, because you need to have this import at the top. Okay? If you don't have the import at the top, it's gonna fail. So the type of my variable is a scanner. The variable name is input. And I'm going to say this is a new scanner, and it's going to accept system.in. Okay? System.in. So let's do a system out print line, SOUT, tab. And I'm going to give the user some variable, some information they need to input. Please tell me how many eggs you want.
It's not working. Scanner is not working. I don't know what.
You need to have import java.util scanner at the top.
Where?
Okay?
What do you mean import Java util scanner?
It's on top over there.
Look at the board, man. Look at the board. Okay? All right, we're going to go on. I have the system input, system out print line. This is giving the user the information. And instead of making a print line, I'm going to do just a print. Okay? So a print is, it just prints the statement without going on to the next line. Right? A print line gives you the print statement and then automatically hits that return key for you to go to the next line. So we're just going to do like this so that the text shows up in the terminal a certain way, and then you input the number next to the text and hit enter, and it accepts it. All right, so we got that. Now, I need to type input, and I'm going to say next int. And I'm going to assign my next int to the number of eggs. Okay? And we need another constant. I forgot. Final int dozen. What number do you think I need to supply here?
Wait, Loretta's son.
Someone tell me what number I need to supply? Okay. All right. So now I have my number. I'm going to accept input from the text. This is what this is doing on the terminal. It'll take the number I put in there. Okay. And then I need to do something with that number. I need to say the number of eggs divided by dozen. And that's going to give me what? Now here's the interesting thing in Java. We'll put a space in between that for readability. Y'all know that I'm doing division with this statement, right?
Yes.
Okay, that slash will give me a division statement. So I take a int and I'm dividing it by another int. The number of eggs divided by 12. What happens if I have, say, 53 divided by 12?
It won't equal. It'll be still the whole number and the remainder, honestly.
So in Java, the int, if I divide by and I assign it to an int, I'm actually going to throw away the remainder. Okay? Which means that I'll never see a percentage. The only way I can see percentages is if I define these as doubles.
Hold on, wait, where do I go?
But I don't, in the real world, that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? I want to know what how many dozen is, and I want to know the remainder. So how do I get the remaining eggs? Yes, exactly. Number of eggs again. And I use a special character. Anyone know what the special character is?
Asterisk, the percentage.
Whoops. All right, so in Java, if I only want to find the remainder of something using division, I use that percentage. And that's going to only give me the remainder left over. So 12 into 53 is what? 4? Right? That's 4 dozen. And then 48 from 53? 5? Yeah. So the remainder here would be 5. That's what this gives us. Okay. Now we got to do some interesting math. We have to say this statement up here. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to come down here and do a system out. Whoops. Not stout. Sout. Put in quotes. Hit enter. All right. And I'm going to change and put a quote here. and a quote there. Put a plus, and this is the number of eggs, right? I inputted, so I'm going to say number of eggs. That's my first criteria. You ordered the number of eggs. I'm going to put another quote and a plus and a quote because I'm interested in readability here. I'm going to say that's quote plus quote. Everyone understand what I'm doing so far? I'm converting this into a more readable string. Okay, I'm going to take out that. I don't know why that was there. All right, now that is, what number do I need to put in there? What variable?
Dozen.
Dozen of eggs, right? At, guess what I'm going to do? And I'm going to change this to what variable? Cost of egg per dozen. I'm going to bring this down to the next line for readability. And plus quote. What number is this going to be? Oops. Remaining eggs. Plus quote. What is this going to be? What variable? Yeah, cost per egg. So cost per egg for a total of now we have to do some interesting math, don't we? I want to create one more variable. And I'm going to call this double total cost. All right, so now I have to calculate the total cost, right? Because I want to replace what's down here. Oh, good. There we go. Make sure you put see those extra quotes there?
I can't find it. Okay, there.
Make sure you put those extra quotes, otherwise it's not going to make sense. So let's do total cost equals. All right, so what's the first thing we need to do? So dozen of eggs multiplied by what? Cost of eggs per dozen plus what? It's cost per egg times remaining eggs. All right. Does my maths, as the British like to say, the maths, does my maths look right? Oh, we got to put a semicolon at the end.
7.85 plus 7.85 plus question mark. Is that a question mark at the end?
There we go. It's not a question mark, it's a semicolon. All right, real quick. Why do we have to put semicolons? Does anyone remember why?
I guess it tells the compiler where each statement ends.
Yes, it separates the variable names, variable lines, right?
It's semicolons, right?
Semicolons. Yep. So you have to have them at the end of a line, because if you don't, the compiler goes, well, it looks at the next line and it goes, this doesn't make sense, these two statements together. Yeah. All right. What do y'all think? Is our program, is our program going to run? Do you think our program will run?
Yes.
What's the
Full confidence.
Sabi on the end there.
What's it say?
Just like
Oh, there is a squiggly. Why is it? Oh, it's.
Yeah, check out the code.
oh.
There we go. I messed up. Thank you. Quote was in the wrong spot.
Does the spaces for each plus sign matter?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter necessarily. For readability, you want to do it like that.
Okay.
Put the spaces.
Wait, dozens of eggs. Is that a multiplication sign or a plus sign?
This,
Yeah.
that's multiplication. Elijah brings up another good statement. A asterisk is always used for multiplication. A slash is used for division. A percentage sign is used for getting the remainder. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Y'all know that statement?
Yeah.
Parentheses, multiplication, right? Yeah. I think I didn't say it all, but exponents, yeah. Same rules apply, but the symbols for doing the operations are a little bit different. Okay? All right. So let's come up here. Let's run the program. Please tell me how many eggs you want. 1. I want a lot of eggs. You ordered 1,237 eggs. That's 103 dozen at $3.20 per dozen. And 1 loose egg. Wow, what's the likelihood of that? 1 loose egg at 45 cents for each. Whoops. Stop. Don't do that. Yeah, that's awkward. For a total cost of $335.20.
Wait, how many did?
Yeah. Yep, no problem. All right, does everyone understand so far? All right, so this is what I'm going to do for you guys. That's week 2 programming assignment 1. I'm going to go ahead and record a video for week 2 programming assignment 2 and week 2 programming assignment 3, okay? And I want you guys to watch the video and code along with me. Those will be available probably Friday night sometime, okay? This video will be published probably this evening sometime, all right?
Sorry, for class ends for possibly the newest people and people like me. Like we did in web design, we provide other resources that we can use outside of the textbook, maybe like how we use W3C and such.
Yeah, so there are some, there are a number of sites that are good for this. Okay,
Just for sake of time, we could probably put on Moodle like others.
let's see, W3 schools. I think it has Java in here.
There's also
It
a
has
site
Java.
called Geeks for Geeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here about Java. Okay, you can use that. Let's see, Java tutorial. Beldong, I can't remember how it's pronounced. Geeks for Geeks has it. Code Academy. There it is, Beldong. Yeah, this is a great site. Okay.
Oh, there's more than Java there?
Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff. Yeah. All right. Happy coding, guys. You guys good?
Yes, thank you, Mr. much.
All right. God bless you all. Have a great weekend.
Glad to be back for part 2 of our program.
Yeah.
I just